Hi there, welcome back. It's been another week already, and I wonder how you've been, what you've been up to. Maybe you're still working hard on your schoolwork, whether that's from home or whether it's still in the classroom. And it's not long, is it, till the end of the holidays now, and you get to have a little break, and your teachers get a well-deserved break as well. And how's that making you feel right now? Maybe you're feeling a little bit sad. Um, it's always sad when things end and things change. And this year's been a bit different from other years because you haven't really had a chance to sort of say goodbye perhaps to some of your friends or say goodbye to your teachers properly. And it can make it a bit harder than normal. And it's very sad maybe having to leave your old classroom and things that you know and your teachers, and maybe some of your friends won't be in your new class, or maybe it's an even bigger adventure. Maybe you're getting to change schools. You might be moving up to a bigger school, or it might just be that you moved house and you're changing schools, and it's all very going to be very different. And I think everyone going back September, it's going to be very different for everyone. We're still not quite sure how that's going to look, and maybe that's something that's worrying you. But it's a strange old time, and maybe time to sort of think about what you did and how you feel about things, and what's worrying you maybe, and what you're looking forward to. And that's what we're going to do today. But I'm going to start off by just reading a short Bible passage for you, and it's from Joshua, and it's from chapter 1, and it's verse 9, and this is quite a good verse, I think, to hold with you at this time. So it says, "Remember that I commanded you to be strong and brave. Don't be afraid, because the Lord your God will be with you everywhere you go." Okay, let me just say it one more time. It's really important to listen. "Remember that I commanded you to be strong and brave. Don't be afraid, because the Lord your God will be with you everywhere you go." So, what do you think about that? Now, these are words that God spoke to Joshua, and Joshua was leading his people into the promised land, into the new land, and he had a big job to do, and he had to leave behind what he'd known for the past how many years, the journey that it took to get them to this new land, and step up and lead these people into something very different, into a big change. And God wanted him to know these very important words. And he says to him, "Remember that I command you." Now, he doesn't just say, "Oh, don't be worried, don't be afraid." He's commanding him. He's telling him that he mustn't be afraid. He has to be brave, and he has to be courageous and strong, and he's commanding him also to not be afraid. And he can say that with great authority, because he also then goes on to say, "Because the Lord your God will be with you everywhere you go." Now, for Christians, it's something that we believe that God is with us always, and he's with us in everything, in the good and the bad, and that for us is something to be that helps us to be brave and to be strong. And when things are a bit scary, we don't have to be afraid, because we know that God's there with us. And it's all summed up in this very small little passage, in fact, which is a very important thing to remember. So maybe going forward into your new schools and your new classes, with making new friends and everything, maybe these are words that you can take with you, to remember to be strong, to be brave, to don't be afraid, knowing that God will be there with you in all those things. And when we are feeling a little bit worried or uncertain, or if we're excited about something, it's always very good to stop and talk to God about it. And I've got a little activity that will help you to do that. So let me just pop that to one side. You're going to need a piece of paper and some pens, okay? Pens or pencils, something like that. Just a little activity that you can do for yourself. So I've got a large piece of paper here, but you know, whatever size you've got about is fine. And we're going to divide it into 3. Now you can either draw lines with a ruler, or you can just fold it, which is what I'm going to do with mine. I'm going to fold it into 3 pieces, only roughly. They don't have to be exact. There we go. So if I now open it up, you can hopefully see there's 3 sections to my piece of paper. Now there's a crease down there. In fact, just because I don't know if the camera's picking up, what I'll do is I will just draw a line just so it's a bit easier for you to see at home. Okay, so there's 2 very quick lines, a little bit wobbly at the end. So now you've got your piece of paper and it's divided into 3. We're going to write different things on each section. So in the first section, I want you to write things that have been good about school. We're going to stop and think about things that have been good so far. So we're going to call these good things. So we're going to leave a little space at the top for something else in a moment. And just a little way down, we're going to write the words good things, okay? So if you write good things. Okay, so in that first column, we're going to think about things that have been good. And if you want, you can do it in different colour pens. I might use a nice blue pen, I think. So what have perhaps been some of the good things, some of the highlights from your time at school, when you were at school this year? You might have to think back a little way if you've not been for a while, or something that you've got from school or from your lessons or learning at home even. I think one of the things that you might be saying might be friends. Okay, so maybe one of the things that came out of this year's school, maybe quite a while back now, back in September, you got to know new people and you've made some new friends this year and they've been really important to you, and maybe you've had a chance to keep in contact with them since this term's been a bit wobbly, and you've had a chance to catch up with them since. Maybe something good was that you've let me spell that properly. Maybe you've had a really nice teacher. Okay. Maybe you've been very lucky and you've managed to get on really well with your teacher and you've learned an awful lot from your teacher. Maybe they're quite funny, or maybe they're just really good at explaining things. But maybe that's been something good about your time this year. What about, I know this one's always very popular, when you have your playtime. So when you get to have your breaks at lunch and in the morning, sometimes you get to have some playtime, some real free time there. I know that's always very popular, a thing about school. Maybe you went on some trips. So before things changed, maybe you got to go out on some nice trips somewhere. I don't know, maybe to a castle or to a beach, or somewhere else, I don't know. But maybe you've got to go on some nice trips. Maybe not everyone will agree with this one, but I know some people will. Maybe you enjoy the work, and maybe you enjoy doing tests and seeing how well you're doing, and seeing how you're progressing. So some people do actually enjoy tests. I know it won't be everyone, but there will be some. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's been some, maybe you've learnt some good sports, or maybe you've won a sports competition. Okay. But whatever it is, it'll be different for everybody. It could be that you liked maths, or you learned something new in English, or maybe you did a really good science experiment. Maybe you achieved something, maybe you got an award for something. Everyone's things will be different, but you have a think about what were the good things, what were the highlights, the things that you will really remember about your time at school this year. Okay, so that's your first column. Okay, so have a think about that one. And then in our second column, we're going to have our worries. Okay, so maybe these are the things that are on your mind right now as you break up school. Or maybe these were the things that worried you at the beginning of school, or the beginning of this school year. What sort of things have been worrying you? Let me find a different colour pen for that. Use a green one, I think. Okay, so maybe one of your worries at the start of the school year was making friends. So we can pop making friends in there as something that you're worried about, or maybe it's a worry for the new school year. So maybe making friends is something that is really on your mind. I know some people worry about this. Maybe it's that you're going to get lost. So especially if you're going to a new school. So maybe you're worried that you're not going to find your new classroom. If it's a bigger school, if you're moving up, say from year 6 to the high school, it could be because it's a very big school, that maybe you're going to be worried about finding each of your classrooms. But that can be something that worries you. For some people, it's not understanding the work, because obviously as you move up each year group, the work gets a little bit harder each time, doesn't it? Your teachers push you a little bit harder to learn a little bit more, and that's as it should be. You should really push yourself to learn each time. But maybe that's something that you're worried about, is that the work's going to be a bit harder and you won't understand. Maybe you're going to miss your old friends. So if you're changing class or changing schools, and you're not going to perhaps see the people that you used to see, so maybe it's worried that you're missing your old friends. Or it could be something else. How about, or maybe you're worried that you won't like your teacher. Not everybody does, but you know, usually you get to know them, and they're usually quite alright. They're just people just like you and me, and they're just there to help you to learn, and that's why, you know, you can always turn to them. Okay, but maybe it is something that worries you. Maybe maybe somebody said something about your new teacher and you're not quite sure if you'll get on with them. So that's what we're going to do in that section. So again, for everyone, it'll be very different, perhaps, what your worries are. Maybe I've said some of the things that you're worried about. And then we're going to go in our last column. We're going to go for things that we hope for. So these are things that we hope for in our new school year, in our new schools. Okay, so we're going to, our hopes, okay? So we're going to put, just put an S on there, makes more sense. Hopes. So what things are you hoping for in your new school or in your new class? What things are you going to hope for for September? Let's look to the future a little bit. So maybe one of your hopes is that you're going to learn new things. So maybe there's a subject that you don't do now, yeah, maybe something like that. Maybe if you're, say, a year 6 or something like that, and you're going to high school, and you get to learn things separately, don't you? So maybe you're looking forward to learning new things in that way. Maybe you get excited about the idea of making new friends. So maybe you are hoping to make new friends. It's always good to have lots of people around us that we get on with, and that we get to know. I mean, everybody has, usually one or two really close special friends, but it's always good to have other people around you as well, that you can get along with and play with. Which reminds me, maybe you're looking forward to playtimes again, as you've not been at maybe some of you have not been at school properly, and so maybe you are missing out on playing with your friends at playtime, and having that chance to be with the friends that you've made. Oh, it could be that now you're in a different school or a different class, maybe because you're older, maybe you get to learn to play an instrument. Now, I know when I went up to high school, I was quite excited about the idea that I could start learning something like drums, which I could never learn before. I didn't do it in the end because it clashed with the science lessons, and I was more interested in science than the drums. But it was really exciting, the opportunity to learn to play an instrument for me. That was something that I was looking forward to. Or it could be, now you're in an older year group, maybe you have the opportunity, you might in the future have the opportunity to go on a residential, so that's an overnight trip or a stay away from home for a few days, which I know are really good fun. I know, especially if I take my brownies away, we have great fun when we go away on residentials, and things like that. Or it could just be the excitement of new things. So maybe you're hoping and excited for maybe you get one of those lovely new stationery sets, or maybe you get very excited about new school shoes. Some people do. So maybe it's the new things that you get to have. Let's pop that on there. So maybe it's that. But I'm sure you can think of your own list, and again, maybe I've said one or two things, or maybe you disagree and you've got something completely different. So have a go at making your lists there. We love a good list, and a good list is always a good way of looking at things. So we've got our good things, we've got our worries and our hopes. So how can we use this perhaps to help us to talk to God? Well, when we talk to God, we talk to him through prayer usually, and maybe you're not quite sure how to pray. So this might be able to help you. So now above these words, we're going to put something different. So if I write it first, and then you can see what I mean. So in the first column, all these good things are the things that we can talk to God about and we can say thank you for. Okay, so when you're praying to God, always remember all the good things. Always remember to say thank you for all the lovely things that are going on right now, because there always will be some good things, and sometimes we just need to take a little while to think about it. But there's always good things, and you should always be thankful for them. In the next column, so with our worries, it's always really important to remember to ask God to help you. So for example, when you say maybe, please God help me to make new friends. So that's the next bit. And then the last one, I don't know if you can see that. So on the last bit, the words I'm putting there is be with me. So be with me at playtimes, be with me as I make new friends. So lots of different things there. So maybe you can put this up somewhere and you can use this as a way of praying, and you can always add to it and you can keep changing it, or you can at different points in your life you can do a new one. It can doesn't just have to be for now. So maybe if you think about how to start a prayer, and there's many different ways, but it's always with respect for God. So dear God, or Lord our Father, or Heavenly Father, Heavenly Creator, many different things, but dear God is usually the easiest way to remember to start a prayer. So maybe you start your prayer with dear God, and always start with your thank yous and say, dear God, thank you for today, thank you for our friends, thank you for the good times that I had playing with my friends at playtime. Thank you that my teacher's really nice and I can understand my teacher. Thank you that I did so well on that last test. And you could go through your list that way. Then you can go, dear God, please help me. Please help me. I'm feeling a bit lost, and I'm feeling quite worried about making new friends. I'm worried I won't understand. Lord, please take my worries from me. Okay, so please help me with those things. And again, the last one, dear God, be with me as I learn new things, as I make new friends, it's a good way of learning to pray. And then at the end, when you're finished, and you just close with Amen. Okay, like we do with the Lord's Prayer each week, and just close with the Amens. So maybe that's something that you could do this week, just to help you, remind you of all the good things and all the things for the future, and then just to give those worries again to God. And that's something that you can do, okay? I mean, the other thing you could do as well is to take that verse that I told you and to write it on a piece of paper and pop it somewhere where you can see it. Because sometimes just writing the words out help you to listen to them and to understand them a little bit. So I'll just tell you the verse one more time. Remember that I commanded you to be strong and brave. Don't be afraid, because the Lord your God will be with you everywhere you go. Okay? And in each Bible, the words will be slightly different, but the meaning will be exactly the same. Okay? So maybe that's something else you could do this week. But for now, we will say our usual Lord's Prayer together, something that we can all join in and we all know by now, hopefully. Or again, you can just sit and listen and just watch and join in with the Amens. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. Have a good week, my lovelies. I will see you very soon. Take care. Bye.